Heard at Health is sponsored video content brought to you by MedCity News.
Hi, I'm here with Nikhil from Ambience. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so to start, administrative burden is a major issue for providers right now.
Yeah.
What trends are you seeing in that space?
Look, I think the reality is the advent of the EHR has really put a wall between clinicians and their patients. Time motion studies are finding that clinicians spend less than 27% of their day with patients, and the rest of their time, they're doing all sorts of administrative tasks, from searching through the EHR to find information, writing documentation, navigating these thousands, tens of thousands of coding and billing rules that are different by payer, change from year to year. And the reality is it means that clinicians are no longer able to really focus on that patient in front of them and build that authentic connection and relationship with them and their family. And I think that's sort of removed a lot of the joy out of the practice that I just said over the last decade.
Yeah, well said. So going off of that, what are some ways that Ambience is trying to reduce this burden?
Yeah, well, the core of Ambience is this platform that sits inside of the EHR, so it's deeply integrated into the workflow of the clinician. And we try to automate all of those tasks that have nothing to do with taking care of that patient in front of them. So you can imagine before a visit even begins, we've got an AI system that's looking through all the past notes, the labs, the fax documents, anticipating what are the most important pieces of data the clinician's going to need and surfacing them in a single dashboard so they can get up to speed on the context of that patient. So that's before the visit. When they walk into the room, we've got a system that's called ambient listening. It's listening to the conversation, and it's reasoning over the past context, as well as the conversation happening in the room with the patient and their family, to automatically generate all of the clinical documentation that normally they would be spending hours and hours writing themselves inside of the EHR. At the same time, we've got an AI agent that they can also converse with. So if they have a question about data inside of the EHR, if they want to look up evidence-based guidelines, if they want to use medical calculators, if they want to trend certain data points, they can ask a question right there inside of the EHR and get an answer within seconds. And then after the visit, we automate a number of the sort of post-visit tasks as well, including how do we help clinicians pick the right ICD-10 and CPT codes? How do we automate communications with their patient and their family? How do we automate communications with the rest of the care team?
Yeah, that's really great. So what results have you seen so far, and what more do you want to accomplish in the space?
Yeah. So Ambience primarily works with large academic medical centers and large integrated health systems. Last year, Cleveland Clinic actually ran a five-way comparison, a five-way bake-off across the five major players in our space. One of the things that's exciting is that Ambience emerged as Cleveland Clinic's partner. We currently serve over 80% of all of their clinicians in the ambulatory and emergency department settings. Those clinicians use Ambience for over 70% of all scheduled visits that happen at Cleveland Clinic. And so this is the vast scale at which we're seeing adoption of the technology and utilization of the technology across the wide range of specialties inside of an academic medical center is pretty astonishing. And we're seeing the same results we're seeing at Cleveland Clinic play out at every single other health system that we work with at an enterprise scale.
Yeah, that's great. And so going off that, KLAS's 2025 Emerging Solutions Report, Ambience was recently ranked #1 in improving the clinician experience, #3 in improving patient experience, and #3 in improving outcomes. How did you achieve this?
I think a big part of it is we focus so obsessively on creating a magical experience for the clinician. And to serve our customers well, you think a place like Cleveland Clinic, a place like Mayo Clinic, they have hundreds of different specialty areas and subspecialty areas. And for each of those clinicians, they're practicing deeply different medicine. They have different workflows inside of the EHR. They have different coding and billing rules. And so our job isn't to build one product and then try to retrofit it to all these different specialty areas. We have to build over 100 different products to serve every single one of these specialists and subspecialists well. I think that's a big part of why we've been able to accomplish the adoption and the utilization rates and the NPS scores that we've seen. I think one of the other really interesting results that came out of the Cleveland Clinic study was they measured end-user NPS, and Ambience's NPS was at a 60, the next best was a 12. The remaining three solutions they evaluated were negative NPS. And so I think it shows you when you're really truly obsessed over creating a magical experience, one of the things we oftentimes hear from clinicians using Ambience is that it feels like the technology is reading their mind. You get those kinds of NPS scores and those kinds of outcomes.